The wife of a victim of a hit and run killed by a suspected drunk driver is speaking out after that driver's sentence was cut in half.
News 13's Annalisa Pardo spoke to the wife of Joe Gomez and has the story.
Very generous and kind, a dedicated, passionate father of our two children.
That's how Janine Gomez describes her husband, Joe. They were married for 21 years when everything changed in July of last year, when Joe and his friend went for a bike ride.
I got a frantic call from Eric a few hours later saying that Joe was hit by a car.
Hit near Unser and Kimmick, the driver took off. Joe was in the hospital for 11 days until doctors broke the news Joe's condition wouldn't improve.
And I just sobbed, and I laid on Joe and sobbed, and I said, Joe, I am so sorry that this happened to you. We made a super hard but right decision to pull him off the ventilator.
Meanwhile, the driver of the car that hit Joe, Molly Duran, was arrested. Initially charged with DWI and facing 21 years, hiccups in the investigation led to a guilty plea to leaving the scene and a 9-year sentence.
Satisfied isn't really the right adjective. That's how I felt. I felt like once she was convicted of the 9 years, the weight of grief let go a little bit. Not much, but a little bit.
But that all changed a few days ago in this courthouse when Molly Duran had a hearing to get her sentence reduced.
Judge Emeterio Rodolfo said he didn't forget the harm done to Joe or his family, but also saw remorse in Duran.
When we had the initial hearing, I couldn't sleep that night.
At the latest hearing, he cut Duran's sentence from 9 years to 4.
I cradled my head in my hands and I screamed. And I just said, Joe, I'm so sorry. I will fight. I will fight for you.
Janine Gomez plans to write letters to the governor and anyone who will listen.
He couldn't sleep that night. And so it just seems to me that the whole decision was made on his emotion, where I sit here and I haven't slept in 17 months.
Her words for Duran.
Sober up and contribute to society. Do something so that my husband's life wasn't lost in vain.
While she shares her case, Joe is still a big part of her family's lives.
We'll just reference him and say, oh, that's something Dad would do, or that's something that he would joke about, or he would be doing this right now. We always bring him up in conversation.
Especially today, which would have been Joe's 60th birthday.
I talk to Joe all the time. He was my best friend, for sure.
Annalisa Pardo, KRQE, News 13.
While Duran's guilty plea did not include DWI, her probation after the 4 years in prison includes an interlock on her car.